We are here with Joe from the creator known as I Love to Explore Oregon and Random Vanum. I Love to Explore Oregon joined January 31st, 2021 with a sub count of 538, hitting a lifetime views of 139,000, almost 140K, with his top video being 8.9K. Random Vanum joined December 19th, 2011 with a total of 330K for his lifetime views, with a subscriber count at 530. At the top being almost at 100K at this moment. So my first question is, what would 1K represent to you?
Getting 1,000 subscribers to me would represent to me, like the entry level of success in YouTube. Definitely, I think one of my goals since I started YouTube, even though if you kind of look at my my Random Vanum channel from 12 years ago, you'll see that I made like 4 videos 12 years ago, and then I waited like 3 more years to put up another video. But if you look at what I do lately, I'm putting up like 50 videos a month on just one channel. So I definitely have that goal of holding that first, or seeing that first YouTube check in my hands. Seeing that I actually am making money at this. The truth is I would do this whether I got paid for it or not. It's just something I like doing that much, and whether I'm getting paid for them or not. But what it comes down to is, yeah, that is the ultimate goal, and that is what, really releases the dopamine inside me and really makes me feel like, hey, this is great, All
right, question 2. What does your 1-year plan look like?
There is something that is kind of in me that, I have some, it may not appear open. I guess I hide it really well and I adapt really well. But the truth is that I have some pretty serious ADHD. And I have a hard time setting goals. And to me, when I set a goal, especially one that's like 1 year out, it doesn't mean a thing to me. What I go along is I just do the best I can every day, and hope for the best. So for me to set a goal like 1 year, I could set a goal and say, I want to be at, because I'm at 500 subs right now. And I could say like in a year, I want to be at 1,000, which actually I think I'll be there before that. But I'm just not really a very good goal setter and goal getter. I try to do my best every day.
All right, question 3. When did you first start creating videos?
So you did really good research. I really respect that. But you might not know that I have 11 YouTube channels. My parents had one of those old camcorders, with a VHS that you carried on your side. I don't know if you remember those. But they had those. If you watch the movie Back to the Future, like he has that little camcorder in that movie. But my parents had this big camcorder, that you carried on here, and it had a backpack in it. And I made movies with that. That's 1980s or whatever. That's 80s material, making movies on VHS cassettes. So I was making movies back then. 1980? I don't know. Probably 1980 something.
Who has been your biggest inspiration on this journey for YouTube? It could be a YouTuber or film creator.
My biggest inspirations are creators. There's no doubt about that. It's probably not a YouTuber, and this is going to be weird, but I've always been a creator at heart. And I think that my biggest inspiration as far as creating something is Stephen King.
Okay.
Read his book, The Craft, and I've listened to how he tells stories. And I wanted to be a writer for a long time, but with the way my ADHD, and I have written a few things, but with the way my ADHD works, it's hard for me to focus on something for long enough to get an actual book out. But I really want to create a long-form movie, like a full-on, an hour-and-a-half movie. That's my goal sometime, is to tell a really good story. It doesn't have to be a horror story like Stephen King. Probably won't be, but as good a story, I couldn't, I don't think I could be that good. But people enjoy watching, and they say, I watched that movie and it changed my life. That's what I want. So that might be an odd combination with a horror writer. Heard something shuffle out there. Anyway, that's Stephen King's my idol.
It's gonna be like your video where you're driving through the stop or light, and it's like horror. Was that what
Stephen King is my inspiration? If you know, I've got some other inspiration. Joe Rogan. I was listening to Joe Rogan on the way here because we were talking about doing these interviews. So definitely Joe Rogan's one of my inspiration. Jordan Peterson is a bit of an inspiration for me. Tony Robbins. I've read pretty much every one of his books, and he's just a big motivational speaker, and he's definitely one of my inspirations. So a few of my mentors there are inspiration,
Do you think 5K subs is going to be as big of a deal as 1K?
To be honest, you know, I don't think 1K is, for me, is going to be that big of a deal. It's just kind of that first notch over. You know, of course, 5K and 10K, and I feel like, oh, maybe I've made it now, and maybe I'm getting somewhere. You know, when I hit 10,000, I think I'll feel like I'm getting somewhere.
Since you said you were really bad at planning, I'm still going to ask, though, do you have a 5-year goal?
No, definitely do not have a 5-year goal.
Yeah.
Can't even picture 5 years in my head.
What would 1 million views mean to you?
There is something in there. Again, I have like 11 YouTube channels, and I do have a YouTube channel called Mac Volkswagen TV, and it's pretty much at 500,000 views right now.
Okay.
I was working with a Volkswagen store, and they've since switched ownership, so I'm not really doing anything with that channel anymore. But the channel's still up there, and it's still getting views, still getting comments. I still have access to it. But it will feel different since I'm not on that channel anymore. I think when my I Love to Explore Oregon hits 1 million views, again, I'll feel like I've done it. You know, I've become successful, and that one's only, you know, in the neighborhood of 100,000. So it's still a little ways away, but hopefully it'll come soon.
All right. So at least with the I Love to Explore Oregon and the Random Phantom, how did you come up with those names?
I actually first originally named I Love to Explore Oregon just Explore Oregon. I just started with that name, and then I realized there's actually something else out there by that name, and I started mentioning to a couple of people I had a YouTube channel named Explore Oregon, and they thought I was much bigger than I was because there was something out there named Explore Oregon, and I go, well, I can't keep running like that because it just doesn't feel right, you know. So I changed the name to I Love to Explore Oregon, and since then I've actually done a couple of videos in Washington, so I'm thinking that I may soon change the video to I Love to Explore Oregon and beyond. Random Phantom used to actually be called Donovan Cross, was used to be the name of that channel, because it's weird, but my name Joe Hergert is really boring to me, and I always thought I wanted a more interesting name. So when I was in high school one day, I created an alter ego for myself, and that was Donovan Cross. So I named that YouTube channel first of all Donovan Cross. I just didn't feel right, didn't like it so much for a while. So, but if you go back on that video, if you go back on Random Phantom and you watch some of my older videos, you'll see me call myself Donovan Cross. Right. And actually, it even has an opening with Dr. Donovan Cross. Later on, when I got a van and I made my van into a camper, I changed it to Random Phantom.
Okay. Well, and like you hear about those like past YouTubers that kind of were the people that had different alter egos, maybe, or something, like, or completely different than school. It's like, so
yeah, it's totally an alter ego for me. Yep.
With your top videos being almost 9K on I Love to Explore Oregon and almost 100K on Random Phantom, how did that feel?
I mean, when I drop a video, I do watch for it. And having videos, the weird videos, I mean, like, the thing that boggles my mind about YouTube is what videos actually really do well. You know, and the first time, like when I made the video called Red Light Camera Nightmare, and I dropped that video, and I could literally actually watch the numbers going up as I dropped, you know, and it's a short, and it got like 9,000 views in one night, like in 24 hours, or 8 hours, really.
All right, can you even phantom 100,000 subscribers? Right
now, it's really hard for me to imagine. I mean, I have to keep on telling myself that I'll do it sometime. You know, that keeps me going. That eventually I hit it, because, you know, the dream is to stop the day job and do YouTube full time. You know, but I can't do that until YouTube's paying the bills. Can I fathom that I'm going to have it sometime? Right now, it feels so far out of reach, you know, so.
It only takes that one, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I had to throw Mr. Beast in there. So with Mr. Beast making his huge strides, especially making that $100 million contract with Amazon, do you think that it's more possible now to hit 100 million subscribers one day for you?
Because Mr. Beast did it?
You look at his old videos on like his gaming channel, like it just kind of...
The people that I watch, like the YouTubers that I watch, and I am so random that I don't necessarily watch there's like some YouTubers that I don't watch all the time, you know, but the YouTubers that I watch, Mr. Beast isn't really one of them. He's not really my game. I mean, I respect what he's done, and I see that he is a great YouTuber, but when I go to YouTube, I'm not going to go there for Mr. Beast, unless I am just looking for, like, maybe an idea or, you know, trying to see why he's successful. Because he's not entertaining to me. Sorry, folks.
Hey, that has to be one.
I go looking for YouTube. I mean, if you looked through my feed on Random Phantom, you would see Jonny Harris. I find him pretty interesting, so I go to him sometimes. But I also am so random that I don't necessarily go to the same people that often, but he just comes up. I like to listen to stuff more than I like to watch it, primarily because I can listen to something and do it at the same time. So if somebody tells a story on YouTube, I might go to those, and weirdly enough, I haven't made very many of those videos myself. Son was really into Jacksepiceye and Markiplier, which I'm sure both of those guys have hit 1 million. It feels like to me, like I knew Jacksepiceye and Markiplier 10 years ago. Maybe not quite that long, but a good chunk of years ago, like, you know, like at least half a decade ago. You know, my son was like all into those two guys, and they were really big back then. I kind of already knew that 1 million subs was possible, and then my friend in Eugene hit 1 million subs a couple years ago. So I know it's possible. I know it's a YouTube possibility, and I feel like it is possible for me and for Eric. You know, Eric's already got, you know, probably 1,500 channels.
1280 right now.
So I know it's possible, but it does feel like it's a long ways out there. Mr. Beast hitting it, I don't feel like I feel like, you know, comparing me to Mr. Beast is like comparing me to Brad Pitt, you know. We're a long ways apart, you know. We're not even in the same neighborhood. Hope maybe someday I'll be there, you know, and I'll be honored to be there.
I got my last question. Why do you love YouTube or creating in general?
So creating, like, so a lot of YouTube for me is like a journal, you know. I know that since I made a lot of those videos with my son, here's kind of a weird way of looking at life, and this might feel dark, but if you have a child, and when your child is 7, that's a certain fun age, you know. They're still innocent enough, and they're asking those weird questions, you know, why is the sky blue, those types of things. When that child turns 13, that 7-year-old's dead. You're never going to be able to be with that 7-year-old anymore. And of course he's not really dead because he's 13 and he's standing in front of you. They're totally different. So if you have those log of videos, then you can go back and watch them, you know, and it's, you know, you can kind of remember what he was like when he was 7, you know, or whatever. Now my son's 20, so, you know, and he's still working on that YouTube channel, you know, and he's doing some TikTok and doing some stuff of his own. That's just the thing, is like, life is so short. You know, when I ask you, like, let me just ask you a question, and I might ask you this again when I'm interviewing you, but how many days do you think you have left before you die?
Oh man, I'd like to say I have at least 40 more years, and everything after that's bonus.
So how many days do you think there is in 40 years?
Oh dang, trying to make me do math this late. 365. Not enough.
So I've asked some people like this, and maybe you can ask yourself and throw it down in the comments before I do the math for you. But a lot of people, when you say how many days do you have in your life, from 0 to 80, because that's about the average lifespan is 80 years. People throw out like 200,000, 1 million. No. 365 times 80 is 29,000. So you got less than 30,000 days to live. So if I gave you 30 grand, how fast would you spend it? What, you'd blow through it in a half a year. That's most of what you know, maybe you'd blow through it in a year. You know what I mean? So if you try to think about life that way, is you got 30,000 days to live. Right. Every day is precious.
Well, it was like that one quote, it was like, if I gave you 2 million right now, would you take it? But then tomorrow you can't wake up.
Yeah.
It's like, so wake up every day like you're $2 million.
Live every day like the most important. And why I'm going back to, again, I want to make a video of every day that I can and record it and have it there so I can feel like you know, and then when I die, when I'm gone, my loved ones, if they care, if they want to, they'll be able to watch those videos, you know. Yeah. You know, my son will be able to watch all those videos, you know, or if, heaven forbid, you know, horribly, that if I did lose my son, then I would have this log of our time together, you know, or at least I would have that. You know, there's since then I've lost some people. I lost a cat, not that you lost a cat, and you made a video of your cat that you lost, and I made a video of my cat that I lost. You know, because we'll never have that time back. That cat's gone, but now at least we can watch those videos. That's what YouTube's for me. It's like a free place to store all that. So I definitely, you know, that's a huge thing. That's free. I mean, you know, 1980 I didn't have that, you know, but I have that now. So it's a journal. It's a free place to store all that. I can go back and look and see what I did back then. That's what YouTube means to me. But then also at the same time, it means like it's like winning the lottery. You know, it's like playing the lottery. I don't play the lottery because I already know that it's a bad math problem. But I play YouTube because it costs me time, yeah. But I get back all the other stuff that I just mentioned, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll win big. You know, so that's why I play YouTube.
All right, and that was all we had.
All right, well, I think that turned out to be a pretty long video.